Thank you, Fernando. Our last speaker for the day, we have Dr. Hassan.
Thank you, Carmen. I knew there were hitches in PowerPoint, so I prepared to present my speech myself. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great privilege to be here among such a distinguished group of professionals and top academicians. It is also a pleasure to be back in the UK, where I spent over 9 years completing my O-levels and A-levels up to my PhD. This conference includes over 120 participants from over 25 countries that embody a wealth of experience and know-how, not to mention the multicultural mosaic this group represents. I cannot imagine what education might look like in 2065, the title of our conference, nor easily perceive where we might reach even a decade from now. However, there is no doubt in my mind that the way we do business in higher education today will be completely transformed over the coming years, let alone the coming decades, in such an exponential manner that can only be today in the realm of fiction. For example, I expect that inexpensive, high-performance computing systems will allow virtual reality systems to become more abundant, which will lead to virtual classrooms, virtual instruction, that will allow more easily the design of student-centered systems, which will in turn allow to provide two things: customized instruction delivery and customized exams and evaluation tools, and the second, an exponential growth in higher education students. First, I'd like to mention that before assuming the position of Minister of Education and Higher Education in Lebanon during 2011-2014, I went through all the phases of academia, which includes professor, chairperson, dean, vice president, and president. I guess the cycle might be repeating itself anti-clockwise as I am back as vice president at the American University of Beirut. AUB is a private, independent, non-profit, co-education, and non-sectarian institution of higher learning and will be celebrating the 150th anniversary in a few months. AUB is accredited by the Middle States Commission of Higher Education in New York and is based on the American liberal arts model of higher education, and its motto is that they may have life and have it more abundantly. According to the QS ranking system, AUB ranks 249 in the world, and some of its programs 100 in the world. I come from Lebanon, a land that has been embedded in history for thousands of years and that includes the oldest city in the world. A country that has given the world its first alphabet. A country that now has 50 higher education institutions and had the first law school in the world in Beirut. A country that discovered during Phoenician times America way before Columbus did. A country that has been the land of many prophets, a country where Jesus made his first miracle, turning water into wine in Qana near Sidon, south of Lebanon. Although the Middle East region is rich in natural resources, minerals, oil, and gas, our true wealth is our youth. This is why the best contribution any country can make to our region is in the provision of non-profit, high-quality universities. As Aristotle mentioned, the roots of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweet. There are three elements in education: the ah, when one explores a new concept; the aha, when you understand a new concept; and the ha-ha, indicating that education delivery should be in a fun environment that motivates students and promotes curiosity, creativity, and entrepreneurship. Creativity should be encouraged and nourished in our educational systems, especially pre-university education. Our educational systems should create a culture where everyone can explore their ideas and feel that they are valued. However, in many of our educational institutions, students are often aided to grow out of creativity rather than grow into creativity. You might ask, why am I talking about basic education in a higher education conference? My answer would be that our overall education system, from preschool up to doctorate programs, is only as powerful as its weakest link. And in most countries across the globe, including our region, the bottleneck in our overall educational system is K-12. Therefore, one of the most important elements in providing high-quality higher education is to ensure that high school graduates are academically prepared for the rest of their journey in higher education. 20 years ago, kids in preschool, kindergarten, and even first and second grade spent much of their time playing, building with blocks, drawing or creating imaginary worlds in their own heads or with classmates. But increasingly, these activities are being abandoned for the teacher-led, didactic instruction typically used in higher grades. In many schools, formal education now starts at the age of 4 or 5. The idea seems obvious. Starting sooner means learning more. However, a growing group of scientists, education researchers, and educators say there is little evidence that this approach improves long-term achievement. In fact, it may have the opposite effect, potentially slowing emotional and cognitive development, causing unnecessary stress, and perhaps even reducing kids' desire to learn. Many experts interpret this trend as a profound misunderstanding of how children learn. As the skeptics of teacher-led early learning see it, that kind of education will fail to produce people who can discover and innovate, and will merely produce people who are likely to be passive consumers of information, followers rather than inventors. That leads to the question, what kind of citizen do we want for the 21st century? Several countries, including Finland and Estonia, don't start compulsory education until 11. In a recent comparison of national educational levels, the Program for International Student Assessment, both countries ranked significantly higher than the United States on math, science, and reading. Over the past 20 years, scientists have come to understand much more about how children learn. Most children younger than 7 or 8 are better suited for active exploration than didactic explanation. The problem with overstructuring is that it discourages exploration. As far as the Middle East is concerned, K-12 represents the bottleneck in the overall educational system, which is clearly manifested in the fact that over 80% of high school graduates in the Middle Eastern countries are admitted to a pre-freshman foundation program where students can spend up to 2 years addressing their subject matter weaknesses, including math, science, IT, languages, and so on. Our educational systems should promote cutting-edge concepts of quality in higher education, as well as put in practice relevant quality assurance mechanisms and processes. The only way to ensure that this is in place is through the provision of institutional accreditation from well-established accrediting bodies across the world. Given the conflicts in the Middle East region and the lack of stability in many of our countries, it is crucial that higher education plays a more substantive role, not just in our economic development, but also in equipping learners with the competencies to manage diversity constructively, seek for peaceful solutions to conflicts, and be able to engage in sustainable reconstruction and development of their communities. We need to take into account different trends in knowledge, technology, economy, mobility, and so on, that will surely influence the shape of higher education institutions in the world, including in our region. As you know, some claim that, given the possibilities of new technologies, traditional higher education institutions will steadily disappear, which implies also that traditional governance models may disappear. I expect they will not disappear, but will have to cope with new challenges, such as the expansion of distance education, e-learning, MOOCs, and potentially other new ways of pursuing higher education programs that are different from the traditionally brick-and-mortar defined ways of delivery. Such trends will have nevertheless implications for governance and information sharing that we need to tackle collaboratively. The Middle East region is witnessing major challenges in terms of transition to globalization, which in turn has faced sectarian, religious, and ethnic difficulties due to the lack of the culture of coexistence and dialogue. As such, it is important to be able to navigate through these recurrent regional political tsunamis. People of the Middle East region want a better life and strive to improve the lives of their children, and this is their right. No doubt, good education plays a pivotal role in achieving this objective. Needless to say, our educational systems should graduate students with 21st century skills in line with market needs. Our ultimate and sustainable wealth in the Middle East region or any other region, as I said, is not oil, it's not gas, it's not in natural resources, although all of these represent economic multipliers. Our true wealth is our youth that represent the future. The solution for most of the problems facing our religion lies in education. Education is not only basic and higher education, but also vocational and technical education, as well as lifelong and continuing education. Our education systems should produce global citizens who can adapt to the dynamically changing world by promoting, among other things, interreligious and intercultural respect and dialogue. Graduates must acquire 21st century skills and exhibit depth and breadth in knowledge. Unfortunately, less than 5% of the over 1,000 universities in the MENA region may be achieving those goals. During my tenure as Minister of Education and Higher Education in Lebanon for almost 3 years, the ministry accomplished many achievements in the form of hundreds of ministerial decisions, decrees, and laws. This included many new initiatives for the first time, such as introducing entrepreneurial teaching in our basic education curricula, a new law for compulsory education, compulsory community service in high school education, the first strategic plan for ICT use in education, a law to create National Council on Quality Assurance for higher education, a decree to regulate PhD programs, and many others. I will mention only one achievement assessed by the World Economic Forum, which ranked 144 countries in various sectors based on many established KPIs. Lebanon received in 2014 the following excellent ranking in higher education. Quality of business schools, 13 out of 144. Quality of educational system, 10 out of 144. And quality of teaching math and science, 4 out of 144, preceded only by Singapore, Finland, and Belgium. Finally, I would like to conclude by stating that the educational process is a lifelong process that starts with building the student as a global citizen. Higher education prepares the next generation, so let the vision of IAUP be nothing less than to influence the world to become free of conflict, a world that values humanity and promotes global peace, as the President mentioned before. IAUP should build bridges with the Centers for Policy Change at ministries of higher education across the globe. This is why I suggested what I did yesterday. Needless to say, IAUP contributes to strengthening the global voice of higher education. The budding seeds of change are certainly fueled by our educational systems to promote a better life. Transformation of education is the enabler for change of our social systems, not only with respect to technology, but also in producing global citizens that promote multicultural and multi-religious tolerance, which perhaps is one of the many parameters that influence the future of our world. A world that can be free of conflicts and treat our mosaic societies as a source of wealth and as an enrichment to humanity rather than as a reason for division. In closing, I would like to thank the IAUP for their kind invitation to this important event. Congratulations on IAUP's 50th anniversary, and I look forward to attending the 100th anniversary. Well, perhaps. Thank you.
You have time? Okay, we are running out of time, so we'll just continue the question and answer during the break. As a recap of the session today, I would say that the challenges of the future, parts of the challenges flows from the growing concern that skills and attitudes of young people bring to their roles as workers and global citizens are inadequate. The growing impact of external forces such as IT and globalization, the demands of society to meet the needs of the new economy, but the main force flows from a new level of competition and market orientation among higher education institutions for students, faculty, research grants, athletic titles, revenue, rankings, and prestige. So with this recap, I would like to thank my speakers. They're very good students, you know. Sometimes I say the president of the universities are the worst student that you can have. They will not even listen to you, but today they listen to me. Thank you very much and have a good day.